Hey, how you doing? I'm Tony Purcell, and it's actually about 3 a.m. right now, and I'm just actually about to head off to bed. But I had to pull myself away from work tonight, and my alarm actually goes off in about 2.5 hours from now. And I know I'm going to be super exhausted tomorrow, but I just continue to work. And it's just a really good feeling when you actually have to pull yourself away from the work you do. You actually have to drag yourself away from what you're doing because it's so fun, it's so exciting, it's exactly what you want to do. It's meaningful, it's making a difference, and most of all, that it's what you're supposed to do and what you were put here to do. And I want to talk about that a little bit today. I actually had a phone call with someone today, a man who told me that he's been married for 14 years and he has children, and he has never once in that 14 years been on vacation. He has never been able to go on vacation with his wife or with his children because he has been entirely focused on just trying to survive. He's just struggled financially the entire 14 years. And what I talked to him about was actually, I studied psychology, and there's this thing called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is basically to say that what the theory says is that when you're focused on, when you don't have a lower need met, you can't focus on anything higher and more important. So I want you to think about it for a second. Imagine that you're underneath the water and you can't get up to the surface for whatever reason, and you cannot breathe. And about a minute goes by and you're really, really panicking for air. Your lungs start to convulse a little bit. And in that moment, are you thinking about paying your bills? Are you thinking about earning money? Are you thinking about relationships? Are you thinking about how to improve yourself as a person? No, you're not thinking of any of those things. Are you even thinking about what you're going to eat for dinner or where your next meal is going to come from? No, that's gone. That's off the table. You can't even think about that. And so when that first need isn't met, air just to be able to survive isn't met, you can't think of anything higher. And here's the problem is that with finances and somebody who's really struggling financially, even though the truth is they actually can survive. Really think about it. What would happen if you just lost all sorts of income right now? Would you starve to death and die? Probably not. Probably you have a network of people, whether it's with your church, whether it's your family, whether it's just your neighborhood, whether you can actually, go to your community in your city and go to a soup kitchen and things like that. There's an enormous number of ways that if you right now just completely lost all ability to purchase food for yourself, you're not gonna die. You're going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. But the problem, though, is in our mind, that association is still money equals my survival. We still think in our mind, and our subconscious processes it with, if I don't have money, I'm not going to be able to put food on my table. I'm not going to be able to have shelter over my head. I'm not going to be able to survive. And here's the problem, is that survival is one of those absolute most bottom level needs. You need food and water and air and then shelter, and above that is relationships. And so if you feel like you can't survive, then you're never going to be able to focus on anything better and anything more important than that, even your own relationships. And then only after all of things like relationships, because relationships is actually one of the survival needs, because it's been proven that if humans don't have love, then they'll actually die. And so you need relationships, and it's only after all of those things are fully satisfied, when you know that you have survival, you know that you're taken care of, when you have money enough to make yourself comfortable, and you have good relationships and those are thriving. It's only when everything in your personal life is going well, and in your own mind, when things are going well in your life, at that moment, then you can really, really focus on higher things. Things like spirituality and spiritual connection. Things like living your mission and your passion and your purpose, doing things that have a higher meaning, helping people. All of those things that are what really gives juice to life and what it makes life meaningful and really is the most important part of life gets pushed off onto the back burner, and for most people never even gets thought about. Because that man who's struggling so hard to survive that he can't even take a vacation with his family, he's not thinking about how can I go and change the world and make the world a better place. All he's thinking about is how can I survive? And guys, I know this firsthand because I've been there. I've been in that place where I was struggling so much in my business and I had quit my job because I was so, excited about my business, but then I spent all of my money onto learning how to do the business and had no more money for marketing and was just struggling. And I didn't have a business system that was working. I was trying to build the whole thing from scratch, build my own website, create all my own products, put on events. And here's the crazy thing is that every single one of those cost some kind of money. And I didn't have money to pay for those. So I didn't have money to survive. I didn't have money to invest into my business. And it was really, really, really hard for me to focus on being able to help people. I was doing my business full time, so I was able to somewhat focus on, because I was only doing my business because I knew that that was my mission and my calling and my purpose in life. And it didn't go very far when I was in that state. I was really, really stuck in that state. And I wanted to help people, but I couldn't because I wasn't taking care of myself financially. I wasn't able to survive. And so I was always worried and stressed and panicked about that. And I spent, a year and a half in that state. And it was frustrating and it was miserable. And it took a really, really, long time to dig myself out of that because that was the place I was in. That was the mindset that I was in. Now I want you to think about your life right now, and I want you to imagine what your life would be like if you were able to overcome that right now. If you were able to actually have enough income coming in that you could make all of your own decisions, that your bank account wasn't making your decisions for you, which is the way that most people live their life, that you weren't panicked every day and constantly stressed in your mind. Even people who, do have somewhat consistent income, but things are tight, what happens is they usually spend their entire, all the time, they're stressed in their mind, and there's a part in the back of their mind that's just running constantly, this stress and this worry about money. I want you to think about your life and what it would be like and what would happen if you didn't have stress about money. If you had certainty about money, and if you had plenty of money coming in, and you had enough money coming in that you were then able to reinvest into your business and actually be able to think, how am I going to use this money to help other people? How am I going to use the abundance that I have to bless other people rather than panicking about the scarcity that you're living in? I want you to think about your life and what would you really do? I mean, what really is your mission? What really is your purpose? How are you able to help people? What message do you have to share with them? I want you to imagine what it would be like if you were in a place where you could actually think about that because you were taken care of financially. I want you to also know that one of the other things about being taken care of financially and at least having success is that it's a lot easier to get people to listen to you. I mean, think about it. When you are claiming to have a really, really powerful message, which is what I did, I went through a time period where everything in my life changed because of what I learned, and it completely changed my career and my finances, and everything took off like crazy, and I had a couple homes, and everything was going fantastic, and then I quit my job to really take myself to the next level and go and share that message, but I fell, and I realized that there was way more work into it than I knew up front, and I didn't have any additional money to invest into my business, and that's really what it takes. And very quickly I got into that survival mode. and I was broke. I had some great results that I wanted to help other people have, but the bottom line is, within just a couple months I was flat broke and couldn't pay my bills and had debt collectors calling me, and I lost the ability to focus on being able to teach other people, and it was hard for me to get other people to listen too. Because I was telling them, you can live any life and you can live this abundance and you're a creator, and trying to teach them all these powerful principles about how powerful they are and anything is possible in their life, and I couldn't pay my own bills. Do you know how hard that is? Do you know how hard it is? I think you might. I think you might be one of those people. If you're watching this video right now, you're probably one of those people who feel like you do have something meaningful to share, and at the same time you realize that people aren't really going to listen to what it is that you're sharing because you don't have the results that they want. I want you to imagine what your life would be like if you had those results. Let's say if you had $10,000 a month income coming in from your business. What would your level of influence be like? How many people could you really, reach out to, and who would actually listen to you because they see you as a credible source who's getting those results? And I want you to think about being able to, having those kind of financial means and not having that stress anymore. What would your life be like if you could actually focus 100% on living your mission and your passion and helping people in the way that you're called to help? And, if you're seeing that, and there's, two types of people who are watching this video. Some people who that doesn't resonate with at all, and that doesn't excite them at all. And then there's other people, probably like you, who you're sitting there and you're thinking about what that's going to be like. And you're imagining it, and you can see it in your mind. And it's an incredible vision, and you know that that's what your life is supposed to be. And it starts with you making the decision to get there. And I know, because that's where it was in my life. The moment that I made the decision, and the absolute decision, and when I say decision, I'm talking about like I made an absolute decision as though there were no other options. It wasn't just like, yeah, I'm going to do it. There was no other options. I am going to do this. And the moment that I made that decision, that's when everything really changed for me and things started to transform. And I had this absolute certainty. I knew exactly my end destination, and I just knew I was going to get there. I was absolutely certain, and I had made the decision, and then I just went to work on it. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I went to work on it, and amazing, magical, incredible things just started happening in just the right way. Things just started to fall in place perfectly to get me in the exact direction that I needed to be in. And so for you right now, the decision is to just get started. Make the decision. I can tell you right now that if you're wanting to make money sharing a message, there's no better way out there than Empower Network. Because you can either go build the entire thing yourself, or use something that somebody else has already built, and products that have already been created, and sales funnels that have already been created, and just use those as leverage. And you just focus on teaching your message and helping people, and then plug them into the system that already exists, so you don't have to spend years building that. Immediately you can plug into something that's already been proven to work. Now that doesn't mean that it's proven that you're going to make a certain amount of income. It doesn't mean that you join right now and all of a sudden you're making tons of money and you've got $10,000 a month immediately pouring into your business with no work. That's not what that means. What it means is that you join now, and you still have to make it happen. But it's going to be easier than any other way out there. Any other way of trying to sell your own products or any other products out there, because this is just a better system. It's got better converting funnels. It's better products. They have better training. They'll teach you everything you need to know to succeed. All you have to do is get in, learn it, and decide that you're going to achieve that level of success, and then just start working towards it as though you know it's going to happen. And your mind's going to automatically map out a way for you to get there. And right now you just decide, you click on the button below this video to join the prosperity team within Empower Network, and you create that life for yourself because you're meant to be free. Human beings were meant to be free. We were not created to live this life of scarcity and of being stuck. We were not meant to live this life. We were not put on this earth at this time to struggle so much financially that we can't even think about anything else. And we can't even begin to think about how we're going to change the world because we're just thinking about how are we going to put food on the table and pay the bills. That's not the way that you were created to live. You were created to live an incredible life and enjoy all the wonderful things of the world and to do what it is that you were put here to do and to make that difference and to live that purpose. So click on that button, come and join us, and I will see you on the other side.